Yu-Gi-Oh! Is a tough game to get back into if you've been out of it for a while. There's so many new mechanics, rules, and products, it can be quite overwhelming, so what can you do? The best way is to start again, to learn again, and have fun while you're doing it. In this series, we'll be looking to create a competitive deck with sealed-only products, on a budget of just £30 per week. That means no trading and no buying singles. This is Yu-Gi-Oh! Rebooted. So the best way to get into Yu-Gi-Oh! Is by buying 3 of the same structure decks. So I got 3 of the Shadol Showdown structure deck, and they came in at £7.25 each, and the reason why I got these is because they're a fusion-based deck, which was something I was really into when I was younger, but also because the artwork just looks really cool. I love the look at them, and they also seem to have some really good side deck options in there with Lava Golem and the Twin Twister available, so some good options for us in the long run. So what we're going to do is we're going to crack these open, we'll crack one of them open, go through the cards, and then see if we can get a deck profile. Wow, I really like the look of this this playmat here. It's got all the stuff on there. You've got that Shadol construct there. I think that's Shekanaga, I think, and I think that's Winder. Not entirely sure, but we'll go through. But that's really cool looking playmat there. So we've got the Duel Links promotion thing. We've got the artwork there. What's this? Complete beginner's guide. Oh, okay. So there's a beginner's guide that you can use that scan for. Brilliant. Okay, so what have we got? So we have El Shadol Grista, El Shadol Apcolone, El Shadol Construct. Okay, let's search. They've put this weirdly. Ah, there we go. So there's the Winder, there's the Shekanaga. Some more cards here. They've got Quadshadol, Chaos, Reshadol Wendy, so I think she's the newer card. Nel Shadol Ariel, another new card. Reshadol Incarnation, that's a trap card. Oh, that sounds interesting. Okay, cool. Shadol Fusion, Shadol Falco, Shadol Hedgehog, Shadol Squamata, Shadol Dragon, Shadol Beast, Shadol Hound, Shadol Zephranaga, so that's a pendulum card. So they've got a few pendulums in there as well. Shadol Zephyrcore, there's a Blackluster Soldier, Envoy of the Beginning, that'll definitely be going in. Lava Golem, so like I said earlier, that'll be a nice side deck option, I think. Dark Armed Dragon, I could potentially put that in. Fairy Tale Sleeper, okay. Performaze Trick Clown, Armageddon Knight, I think that'll probably be going in. Felice Light Swan, I don't think we'd be using that in this deck. Same with Electromagnetic Turtle, I don't think it would be something I'd use. Mathematician, Curry Bandit, okay. Parapara Cerberus, I mean, maybe we could use this to be quite interesting. If you take damage by battle on an opponent's card effect, okay, so you can then destroy something on the field. Curse of the Shadol Prison, that's the field spell. El Shadol Fusion, you'll definitely want to play 3 of these. Nef Shadol Fusion. Super Poly, we've got Super Poly in the structure deck. Yeah, we're definitely playing this at 3, that's going to break some boards. Instant Fusion, that's been hit to 1 now, I think, so I won't be using. Allure of Darkness, that's some draw power. Foolish Burial, I mean, that's got to go in. Living Fossil, Pot of Avarice, that'll definitely be going in. Twin Twisters, Shadol Core, Sinister Shadow Games, Pure Shadol Aeon, Lost Wind, so another side deck option. Unended Nightmare side deck. Necrofusion, Subterra Succession, some more extra decks. So Wendigo, I'm not even going to try and pronounce that. And then the Shadol Construct, the Link Monster. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through these cards, I'll open up the other 2, and see if we can get a deck going. Okay, so we've got something here. Now, that took a bit longer than I thought, but I wanted to really read as much as possible so I could really try and understand these cards before I take these into a duel. Well, 3 duels tonight. So here we go. We'll start with the Shadol package, essentially. So we've got 3 Reshadol Wendy. These are the new cards in the structure deck. And then we've got 2 Nel Shadol Ariel. Now, Reshadol Wendy is the one that when she's sent to the grave, we can special summon a Shadol monster face down, and if she's flipped, we can special summon them from the deck, either face down or face up. Nel Shadol Ariel, when she's flipped, she can special summon a banished Shadol monster, and if she's sent to the graveyard, she can banish up to 3 cards from either graveyard. So really useful in sort of recycling cards, and also getting rid of anything that we don't want in our opponent's graveyard. Then we've got 2 Shadow Beast, that's for draw power, so I was thinking about bumping up to 3, might be something that we do as the series progresses. Basically, it's a graceful charity. When it's flipped, you draw 2 cards, discard 1. You can get plays off that way as well. And if it's sent to the grave, you just draw a card. So really useful card, something I might bump up to 2. And we've got Shadow Dragon, who's basically like the Compulse / MST of the deck, I think. If it's flipped, you can send a card from the field to the hand, and if he's sent to the graveyard, then you can pop a back row. And we've got 2 Shadow Hedgehog. And what Hedgehog does is when they're flipped, you can add a Shadow spell or trap to the hand, and if you're sent to the graveyard, you can add a Shadow monster to your hand. Then we've got 2 Shadow Squamata, and Squamata is basically a bit of deck thinning. But also when he's flipped, he can pop a monster on the field, and if he's sent to the grave, you can then send any Shadow card to the grave. And then to round it off, we've got 1 Shadow Falco. So when it's flipped, he can special summon a Shadow monster from the deck to the field face down, and if he's sent to the graveyard, he can special summon himself. So that's the Shadow package. So we'll go with that. Next up, we've got the rest of our monster lineup. So I thought we'd go with 3 Performe's Trick Clown. Performe's Trick Clown, he's really going to be useful in special summoning, or fusion summoning El Shadow Construct. That's really the main reason he's there. Also, when he's sent to the grave, he can target himself, special summon himself by paying 1,000 life points. So that can really help us out. We have 3 Mathematician and 1 Armageddon Knight. They both kind of do the same job, but Mathematician does it better. Sending a monster from the deck to the grave, and then it will most likely be a Shadow monster to get plays off. And Armageddon Knight can only send dark ones, that's why we're only playing 1 of him. So that's that. And then we're playing 2 Black Cluster Soldier, Envoy of the Beginning. Another way of just getting a boss monster out, we will be banishing most likely the Performe's Trick Clown and a dark monster from there to get him out. And he'll be great at clearing boards, 1 at smashing through monsters, and he's a 3k beat stick at the end of the day. And then to round off the monsters, we've got 1 Pero Cerberus, and that's I think I wouldn't put 1 anymore on. And the moment we start opening things, this probably will be the first card that we cut. So that's all the monsters. Next up, we have the spell and trap lineup. So we're going with 3 Shadow Fusion, and then 3 El Shadow Fusion, and then 3 Super Poly. Just for the fact that this is a fusion deck, we need to be able to get as many fusion cards on the field as possible, especially with Master Rule 5 out now. We've also got 2 Allure of Darkness, and then 1 Pot of Avarice. So I could bump this card up to potentially. We'll see how it goes. Another one of those cards where we'll see as the deck changes and grows what we want to do. But I think 2 Allure of Darkness and 1 Pot of Avarice for draw power and for recycling purposes is good enough. But right now we play pretty much 3 of all the extra deck cards that we definitely need. So I don't think we'll be using this too much, but playing at 1 just in case. Then we're playing 1 Foolish Burial to round up the spells. For obvious reasons, if we need to send anything from the deck to the grave, as soon as we draw this, it's a straight +1 for us. And then to round off the traps, we have 2 Rush Shadow Incarnation. And Rush Shadow Incarnations, basically, there's 2 ways we can use it. We can use it, obviously, to special summon a Shadow monster when it's flipped, but also there's a nice combo that can happen. And then to round off the traps, we have 1 Shadow Core, which is basically a monster when it's activated, and also it recycles things from the grave. So next up, we have our extra deck, and what we have is we start with 3 El Shadow Construct, 3 El Shadow Winder. We have 2 El Shadow Shekanaga, 2 El Shadow Apolone, 1 Water El Shadow, 1 Fire Shadow, and 1 Wind Shadow. So these are going to be our main fusion monsters, these 6 up here. They're the ones that are really important to get out onto the board as soon as possible. The others are there for other reasons, and as the series goes on, we'll talk about them more. But usually we're going to really want to get these on the board. We're going to have 1 of each on the board. So Construct, when it goes into a battle, before damage calculation, it just pops the monster. which is just fantastic for getting over the boards. And Winder locks both players to only one special summon per turn. So what we want to do is we want to set up our board and make Winder our last play, and then pass turn. And then they're locked in for one special summon. It's very possible they'll get over her somehow, but it's also possible that they won't, and then we can just run them over. It also messes up any of their plays as well. And to then round up the extra deck, we have 2 of the Link Shadow Construct. Shadow Construct basically is another fusion spell for us. It activates and it can use itself, it can use any other Shadow monster, it can use 2 Shadow monsters, and it recycles itself as well. So yeah, so that rounds up our extra deck. This structure deck provides some really good side deck options. So we have triple Lava Golem, we have triple Twin Twisters, we have triple Unending Nightmare, and then triple Lost Wind. So, Lava Golem, you sacrifice 2 of your opponent's monsters, and it goes to that side. For Twin Twisters, we can, pop their back row. For Unending Nightmare, same thing, gets rid of the back row. Lost Wind negates effects. So I think, for a structure deck, these are some really good side deck options, and they're going straight in there. It also means we have 3 spots left open for anything we might pull as well, and we can always shop and change as much as possible. I would probably get rid of one Lava Golem first, and then start trimming down from there. But for now, I think this is a really good side deck. So there we have it. We have our deck ready to go. Obviously, with all what's going on with COVID-19 and the lockdowns, there's currently no locals to go to. So what we're going to do is we're going to go on to online platforms like Duel and Nexus and other things, and we'll do our duels there, and we'll record them and do some commentary on them. We'll try and keep them as smooth as possible by editing them down. And yeah, so let's get going. Our first game's against Synchros, and they choose to go first. They start with the reinforcement of the army to add junk converter to their hand. Next they use tuning to add a jet synchron to their hand, and from there they use foolish burial to send doppel warrior, and because I have no interruptions, they just go off synchroing left, right and centre, so they end on a board of Crystal Wings Synchro Dragon, Herald of the Arclight, Dawn Dragster and Axel Synchron, and then pass turn, so basically all the negates they need. In my turn, I draw a Pot of Avarice and activate Foolish Burial, which they negate with a Dragster by lowering its level. I set 4 and pass turn. Yep, negated once and I'm done for the turn. And to top it off, they use the effect of Axel to synchro summon in my turn, going into Satellite Warrior and using its effect to pop my entire back row because they have tons of synchros in the grave. I use the effect of Core to add back the Incarnation to my hand. In their second turn, they normal summon the Jet Synchron, switch everything into attack position, and attack for game. 1-0. Game 2, and I choose to go first, siding in 3 Lost Wind and a Lava Golem. We side the Lost Wind in, hoping that it will negate some of that board, and a Lava Golem to get over those synchros. In my first turn, I set a Shadow Dragon, Super Poly, and Lost Wind, and pass turn hoping that I can break their board with the Super Poly. However, this doesn't happen because the first move they do is to Kaiju my Dragon, meaning I can't use Super Poly. Using Rotor, they add Converter to hand, then using its effect, discard itself and an Ash to add a Junk Synchron to hand. They normal the Synchron, using its effect to special the Converter from grave. And once again, because I don't have any interruptions, they go off into a Dragster, a Shooting Quasar Dragon, and a Martial Metal Marcher. Then, going into a Warrior using the Marcher and Dragster, they pop my board once again, and the Warrior gains 3000 attack, 1 for each card it destroys. They enter the battle phase and attack for game. GG. That's our first game and our first loss, so we're off to a great start. In our second match, we're going up against Adamancipators. They beat us with scissors and choose to go first. Once again, we have no interruptions, so they're able to go off and build a board that ends up with an Abyss Dweller to stop our graveyard effects, a Herald which banishes cards that would go to the graveyard, an IP Masquerader which allows them to link summon in my turn, a Block Dragon which means their rock monsters can't be destroyed by card effects, a Poraload Savage Dragon with 2 negates, and an Appaloosa with 3 negates, so yeah, no Yu-Gi-Oh for us today. In our first turn, we draw a Hedgehog and use Shadow Fusion, which they allow to go through, sending Ariel and a Dragon from my deck as they have monsters from the extra deck. The materials are banished, however, due to Herald. I summon an Akalone to try and negate the Appaloosa, to which they chain Masquerader to link into a Nightmare Unicorn bouncing my Akalone. I realise that I have no outs for this, and rather than sit through another full combo, I just turn and take the L. Game 2, we sided in 3 Lost Winds and 2 Lava Golems to try and deal with their board. We start with the Foolish Burial, setting the Falco, which then special summons itself face down. I activate El Shadow Fusion using Wendy and Beast to summon Winder, summoning a Hedgehog off the Wendy and then drawing a Trick Clown off the Beast, which we then set. They special Pankratops and go straight into the battle phase to attack and destroy Winder. I add back the El Shadow Fusion of her effect. They then go into main phase 2 and with Winder off the board they build up to a Herald, a Researcher, a Union Carrier, a Raptai and a Nightmare Unicorn, which they use to shuffle my Hedgehog back into the deck. They then continue to climb into a Dragite to bounce my Clown back to my hand, and continue going until they can XE into the Abyss Dweller. In my standby phase, they activate the Dweller, stopping my Grave effects for that turn. I activate El Shadow Fusion, which they negate with Dragite. I flip my Falco to special from Grave, but then negate it with Apollousia. I then normal a Hedgehog and link into a Construct, activating its effect, but they then negate it again with Apollousia, to which I scoop. And with that, we have the record of 0 wins, 2 losses going into the third match. Our final match were against Water XZs, I didn't know what else to call it. We win with paper and choose to go first. We start with El Shadow Fusion, using Wendy and Trick Clown to fuse into Construct. The Clown specials itself at the cost of 1000 life points, and the Wendy specials a Beast from deck face down, with the Construct sending a Reshadol Incarnation to the grave on summon. I banish the Incarnation and the Wendy in order to flip the Beast, drawing 2 and then discarding the Cerberus off its effect. Then activating Foolish Burial, I send a Squamata which sends a Falco which then special summons itself face down. I activate Shadow Fusion using Construct and Falco to summon a Winder to then lock them into one special summon, with Construct adding back the El Shadow Fusion, which I then set. In their turn I activate El Shadow Fusion, using the Beast and Trick Clown to get my second Construct, with Construct sending a Squamata and Beast drawing me another El Shadow Fusion. Squamata then activates and this is when they scoop, so 1-0 to us. Finally! Game 2 goes a lot longer. We decide not to side anything in and they choose to go first. In their first turn they set 2 and normal summon XYZ Remora, which allows them to special an Anglerfish from their hand. They then XZ into a Bahamut Shark, using its ability to special summon Totally Awesome from their extra deck, which is a spell/trap negate. In my turn I draw a Wendy which I set along with El Shadow Fusion and a Core, as I wanted to bait out the Toad in the next turn. In their turn I activate Core, which they allow to go through, and I special summon it in defense position. They special a White Stingray, which I didn't realise at the time, but they would have had to discard a card to do so, which they didn't, but misplays happen. They move into their battle phase and attack and destroy the Core with their Toad. Shark attacks the Wendy, who flips and specials a Squamata face down. They don't want to risk my Squamata popping their Toad, so they move into their main phase too. They continue to play, XZing into a Silent Honor arc, detaching its materials to absorb my Squamata and then pass their turn. In my second turn I draw a BLS, set Squamata and pass. They then set a card and go into their battle phase, with the Arc attacking my Squamata, which flips and targets the Toad, which they negate with the Toad by popping their Arc. I chain El Shadow Fusion using BLS and Beast to go into Construct. Construct sends a Dragon, with the Beast drawing me a Mathematician. Dragon then activates to pop a back row. They then go into main phase 2 and banish Revive Splash in the graveyard to overlay a Silent Honor Dark onto their Arc, and then use the Dark to absorb my Construct. Say that 5 times fast. In my third turn, I draw a Super Poly and normal summon the Mathematician to send Wendy, which special summons a Beast face down. I then activate Super Poly, pitching the Cerberus and using their Dark and my Beast to go into the Water Shadow. Yes, I'm not saying that name. There was some confusion over whether Construct would get its effect, but after asking the community chat, we decided it would. Now, this is where I misplayed and used the Construct to send something from the deck to the grave, in this case the Dragon, where it should have added a spell/trap from the grave. It wasn't called out, but this can happen when you're learning a deck for the first time. With the Beast drawing me into an El Shadow Fusion and the misplayed Dragon popping a back row, I attack the Toad with the Water Shadow and attack directly with the Math. In their fourth turn, they normal a Goldfish to special Remora and XZ into another Arc, which they use to absorb my Shadow. They then use Revive Splash to special Toad from the grave. In their battle phase, the Arc attacks my Mathematician, which allows me to draw a card when it's destroyed by battle. They then hit me with 2200 from the Toad, and pass. In my fourth turn, I draw a Hedgehog and use El Shadow Fusion, which they negate with the Toad popping itself. I set the Hedgehog and pass. They set a monster and then attack my Hedgehog, which flips and add a Shadow Fusion to my hand. Back to me, and I draw an El Shadow Fusion and use the Shadow Fusion using a Wendy and Trick Clown from my deck to go into Construct. The Clown then specials itself for 1000 damage, the Wendy specials a Hedgehog, and the Construct sends a Falco which specials itself. I then use El Shadow Fusion to go into a Winder using Falco and Hedgehog, with the Hedgehog adding an Aerial to my hand, which I then set.
Going into my battle phase, the construct pops the arc with its effect, which protects itself with its own effect, so my window attacks it again to destroy it for 100 life points. Whatever they drew for turn must not have been able to out my board because they scooped up and gave us our first win of the series. We end today's matches with a record of 1 win and 2 losses. As there are no locals to go to, we're not able to collect any prize packs, so our solution to this will be for every game won, we'll earn ourselves £1. This week we won 2 games, so that means we'll have an additional £2 next week. In total, we spent £21 and 75 pence today, so next week we'll have an additional £10.25, so we'll have £40 and 25 pence to spend, and we're going to have to make it count because we've learnt a lot from our duels today. They've pointed out the strengths and weaknesses of our deck, and we'll summarise them next week and look to address at least one of them with our first opening. Thank you for watching, please subscribe to the channel and click the bell icon to be informed when the next episode is up, and we'll see you again next week. Stay safe.